See this wooden sign? Know what it says? It says King of the Jews 3 times in 3 different languages, so that anyone who could read couldn't miss it. When a man is crucified, he's intended to be an example to the people of what happens to wicked men who break the law. If a man is a murderer, for example, there will be a sign over his head saying murderer, nailed to the cross on which he dies. In the case of this Jesus from Nazareth, condemned to death by Pontius Pilate, there wasn't any reason for his death, except that the Sanhedrin demanded it, and had forced Pilate into a corner where he felt he had to give in. Pilate's only gesture of defiance was to insist on this sign to be nailed over the head of Jesus. He wrote the words himself. The temple authorities were furious. They tried to make him change the words to read, "He claimed to be King of the Jews." But Pilate would only answer, "What I have written, I have written." He handed it to me, and I nailed it up over Jesus' head myself. King of the Jews, hanging on a cross. It was a revolting spectacle. A crucifixion is no picnic, even when a man deserves that kind of death. But this one really turned my stomach. There were all the temple priests shouting insults at him, so full of hate they fairly spat out the words. There was the crowd, as always, drawn by the sight and smell of the blood. And we soldiers were no better. We were the ones who had nailed him up there. It seems as if the only decent person in the place was the man on the cross. The man who could look down as he was dying that terrible death and choke out the words, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do." Now, I've never been a superstitious man, but I stood beside the cross as this man died, and I heard him cry out, "Father, into thy hands I commit my spirit." As he slumped down, limp and lifeless on the cross, the storm that had been building in the sky broke over our heads in fury. The ground shook. The sky seemed to split apart as the lightning tore it open. The rain poured down in torrents. It was as though an angry God was hurling all the weapons of the sky at all of us, for what we had done. I remember I looked up at him once more before we raced for shelter, and the words burst out of me, "Surely this man was the Son of God." I learned afterwards that the veil of the Jewish temple was torn in 2, ripped from top to bottom by the earthquake. I'd like to hear old Caiaphas trying to explain that one away. You know something? I haven't changed my mind. I've been on my knees every night since, praying that the God whose Son Jesus was willing to die for me would forgive me for what I have done. I believe he is, the Son of God. Who do you believe he is?